Hey everyone, Jacob here from That Time We Woke Up in a Podcast and Had to Explain Manga, our heated adventures overanalyzing manga we find interesting, aka the Over Manga Cast. Get ready for a deep, introspective dive into reason, hope, and truth, because this week we read Orb on the Movements of the Earth by Uoto, chapters 1 through 13. Put on your thinking caps and enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam, and as always, here at the top of the show, about our familiarity with the media that we read this week. And I can't say I've ever heard of this particular manga. Jake, how about you?
Nope, never heard of it, never heard any inkling of it.
How about you, Matt?
It's getting an anime, so we're doing an episode on it.
There you go. And Jay.
No familiarity, and this is a first take for me.
All right, so we dive right in with a meditation on a question. The payment of things to get things. The transactional...
Capitalism, am I right?
Yeah, the transactional nature of reality. You pay coin, you get bread. You pay your taxes, you get rights. You give your labor, you get your payment. So what do you need to pay to know everything in the world? Poignantly juxtaposed next to a man getting brutally tortured.
Yeah, because we get like a weird introductory thing where the manga says this is vaguely in the 15th century, taking place in a country known as P dash dash dash.
I did not pick up on this originally because I picked up on the fact that it was like pretty like medieval time setting, but because of the like opening torture scene, I literally thought this was the Spanish Inquisition.
There's a lot of inquisiting.
Yeah, I was gonna say the main antagonists of this story are literal inquisitors. So,
like that was a wish moment for me. I was just like, oh, I guess this is P country, and I felt like an idiot.
I'm like,
this whole time I was thinking it was in Spain.
So like it's Poland. Like there's not a lot of countries that can fit that dash dash dash. I don't know why they didn't say it.
Mm-hmm.
Which it could be other places, like Prague isn't a country, but like there's at least some vagueness there. It's when they go followers of the religion C dash dash dash. I'm like, okay, you've shown nothing but crosses. Like, okay, I don't know.
I'm not sure what copyright you're trying to avoid here, but all right, manga. You say
we don't want the Christians to be angry when we make a historical manga about the things they like are on the record as having done. I like this was a dark time in the church's history, one of many.
Yep. As is exemplified by us cutting from one scene of hideous story to another. This one will have more lasting consequences for the plot because it introduces our primary villain, Novak, who is a real
he's a go-getter. He's a team player.
He loves his job.
He looks like a Vinland Saga antagonist, which I suppose is appropriate.
He is a Vinland Saga antagonist, almost literally.
I love how nonchalant he is. He takes nothing he's doing seriously, despite the very intense gravity of it. And the gravity of what he's doing right now is he has a person that he is inquisiting upon.
Enhanced interrogation.
Right. And he starts by dropping fingernails onto the table, counting them and saying who they're from. And asking the man, what would be the greatest impact of losing your fingernails to your line of work? I wouldn't be able to pick anything up. Wrong. It's the intense agony that you will endure.
I do love this scene because he's setting it up like it's like, you know what they say about having your fingernails removed? The worst part of it? It's actually that you can't grip anything afterwards, right? No, it's that it fucking hurts. That's what makes it torture. And I'm like, I see where you're going with this.
So he rips a fingernail off at a very gruesome panel. Ugh.
Yeah, the first couple pages of this are very graphic.
Yeah. It
maintains this. It what it's doing is we are not cutting away from violence. If you
Mhm.
have a problem with it, this is not the manga for you. It was nice seeing you, basically.
Mhm.
Which I very much respect. If something is going
I
to
appreciate
be
it.
yeah, if something is going to be transgressive, it should be upfront about what it's going to do and how bad it's going to get. So
Yeah. Yeah, and this manga is like, we're depicting the Christian Inquisition. We're going to be showing heretics be tortured, which is what the manga does. So
mhm.
Yep. And the guy, bully for him, he tries to maintain his steel. He's like, the truth will never die to brutes like you. Besides, I've only got 10 fingers. Go ahead and rip off the other 9. At which point,
10. He dumps like a handful. 62 was how long it took this other heretic. They grow back, you know. And then you just see the look of like defeat on this guy's eyes. Like he thought he had a
Mhm.
cool ass line, and it was just like, no.
no, we can keep going. Which, great way to introduce your villain. We cut from there to a classroom where a man is giving a lecture, saying, "Now, class, who can tell me what sits at the center of the universe?" And a very enthusiastic voice says that it's love because
Oh,
oh,
and I immediately wanted to punch this kid.
he's got this. He's got the enthusiasm.
Hey, I've seen Interstellar too, kid.
But our ostensible protagonist, a young man named Rafal, stands up and says, "No, obviously it is our Earth. You see, it is quite simple based on observations, as things fall down towards our Earth, and everything else in the sky circles our Earth, meaning that they are falling towards it."
I do like the like noting of people in this time period were aware of the shape of the Earth, even if they were wrong about its position in the greater cosmos, because that's a really common misconception.
Yeah, in case it wasn't obvious, this isn't about flat Earth nonsense because that was not even debated at this time period. This is heliocentrism.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like,
Everyone is aware that all planets, including Earth, are globes.
Yep, it becomes heliocentrism versus geocentrism. The teacher, Mr. Potochki, he heaps praise upon Rafal because Rafal, bright young lad that he is, at the mere age of 12, has been accepted into university. I would expect nothing less of the orphan boy that I adopted. Okay, Teach, you got a little bit of nepotism going on there, or
And of
hey,
course, he's
in the great land of P dash dash dash, there is no nepotism. There is only higher powers.
and of course, Rafal is going to pursue the most noble course of study of all, theology. Roaring applause.
And then he then literally has an internal Light Yagami monologue where he
I love
goes,
this.
full Death Note.
"These empty-headed fools all around me. Ah, yes, that one child who congratulated my brilliance. He is but the most foolish of them all. He compared me to a god and was chastised because there are things that cannot be true. I was born as an orphan, and I have decided that I will only accept the rational explanation for all things. And thus, such using logic, I have determined that theology is the truest path towards truth."
All logical things are beautiful to me, as the panel is just the Fibonacci sequence. But yes, the very enthusiastic boy, comparing him to God for his brilliant intelligence, is swiftly chastised, showing that the authorities do not accept, under any circumstances, challenge to the divine rule of God and the Church.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You know,
We
worship
also
no false god.
Mhm. As
uh,
further exemplified by Potochki going, "Ah, Rafal, yes, thank you so much for being such a wonderful young lad. It's bright and joyful. Now then, since you'll be studying theology, you're going to give up on that stupid bullshit of looking at the sky, right?" "I'm sorry, what?" "Yes, I know you go out and look at the stars. Now you're going to stop doing that forever." But what if it didn't interfere with... "You're going to stop. Okay.
But really, it doesn't actually take any amount of time because you can only do it in like the very early morning. So I'm not really sure how that overlaps with reading the Bible. Shut up. Okay.
At which point we get cut to Rafal up late at night studying, and a common visual motif for our prospective characters, spoiler going forward, they gaze out upon the night sky, and we get a full close-up panel of their eyes full of wonderment, reflecting the majesty of the heavens.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like it when the manga does this because it's got like very detailed eyes that are
Oh
truly
yeah.
reflecting like the majesty of the heavens.
Oh, it's
As
very cool.
and like it kind of counterbalances with the kind of rough style of the art when it's just depicting humans having their like internal squabbles and like I don't know, it feels like very purposeful art choices there.
Yeah, I do think it's a very purposeful juxtaposition because a lot of the manga ends up talking about, the idea of science as understanding God's work and appreciating, the majesty of what he wrought. And so when it comes away from, the political squabbles and the needing to work around doctrine and dogma, and it's just the pure appreciation of the beauty of the universe, it gets so super detailed. It does a lot to highlight the what's really at the heart of why these characters do this.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about like in a lot of cases, a lot of the like regular scenes they almost look sketchy. Like they look like a sketch is the way I probably should have phrased that to make it a bit clearer. Like the art, there's a clear intentional choice of highlighting the beauty of the heavens, juxtaposed. Because the other thing that happens a lot is like people talking about how awful the world is.
Mhm.
That's less so in this early section, but that's like a major theme of the second section of our reading. Like it's not it's not pretty until it really shows off, like why someone could get lost in the sky, how someone
Mhm.
could get lost in the sky.
And to really just hit you with the contrast of that divine beauty. The next page is the next day. Rafal walking through the streets, going about his business as he smells something cooking, and we see somebody being burned at the stake.
Their
Yes.
flesh is melting off their face. Like
This is
Uh-huh.
not the barbecue I was expecting.
Give me
It's
bacon.
it's exceptionally gruesome, and there's a panel of the burning victim's eyes flick around, and they seem to meet Rafal's gaze, and he panics because who wouldn't? Well, maybe some incredibly jaded asshole like that inquisitor there who's yawning.
Burn
yeah,
faster, I'm bored.
Immediately setting off alarm bells.
One thing I really like about Novak's design is that no matter like how much time passes, his sleeves are always dirty with blood, which just tells me that every pair of clothes he has is like this.
Very, very dedicated.
But yes, the business that Rafal is out on is a favor that Patochki asked him. A friend of his is being released from prison. He's a reformed heretic. You're going to go pick up my friend Hubert from the inquisitorial prison,
why
which
are,
seems
but father, why are we dealing with a heretic? That seems ill-advised.
You don't understand, boy. He's had a change of heart. He has returned to the Lord's grace, and that is why I'm sending you to pick him up.
Oh, yes, because whenever someone like absolves themselves of mercy, you're told to turn the other cheek. How many times does the Bible tell you you should do that?
Well, you see, the Bible says that you should always turn the other cheek, but we have a
We got
two
a two
strikes.
strike system.
If anybody convicted of heresy, who then pledged a change of heart, were to then be convicted again, they would immediately be executed. So that's how we know that Hubert is completely reformed. No recidivism here, no sir.
Which is really funny to me because the Bible does explicitly say like 77 times or something you should forgive someone. But hey, That's clear. Most of these people can't read is really the big problem here.
Well,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's one of the problems that consistently crops up in big religions like that is everyone's got their opinions about it.
Also, at this point, church services were still being done in Latin, a language no one has spoken for 500 something years.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure they don't have vernacular mass yet.
Yep. So the
That was in
word
like
of
the
God is
70s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the word of God is whatever the person in charge says it is. As mentioned, dark time.
Yep. But I really like Hubert. He's a very interesting character. He's led out by the guards and picked up by Hubert or picked up by Rafael, and he is massive. Like beyond just being twice Rafael's size because he's an adult, he towers over even the guards. So he is huge. He's intimidating. He's in this ominous cloak, and his face is pretty heavily disfigured. Whether that's the way he always was or the torture, we are never told.
It is almost
It's
it
probably
is
the torture.
It's
Because-
probably the torture.
He explicitly says, "I am a heretic. Do not feel the need to stifle your reaction. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is what they did to me."
He is this huge, scary figure, incredibly intimidating, and his behavior initially does little to assuage you of the idea that he is big and scary.
Yeah.
Because
It's insane to me. This guy gets let out of prison on like thought crimes, saying, "Don't think bad thoughts ever again." And like
5 minutes walking away from the guards, hey kid, you want to help me with thought crimes?
You want to
Yeah,
go commit crimes, kiddo?
the earth goes around the sun. What? Yeah, and you're gonna help me prove it. What? Why
took-
So
would I
here's the knife I had.
why would I do that? Because I'm about to threaten you. What? Page turn, knife to his throat.
Yes.
I loved that. Just why would I do that? I'm going to threaten you.
Why would I do that? Because I'm about to threaten you. Oh. Well then.
Hubert is an honest man to a fault. And when I say honest, I don't mean fair play. I mean he will tell you exactly what he thinks and is going to do. He gives
Well,
you fair warning for everything.
I mean, kind of, but also
Not
he was just-
fair warning. He gives you
Mm.
warning.
also,
Mm.
I wouldn't describe him as an honest man because he was like,
he did.
he said like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I thought you repented those heretical notions." Oh no, I just told them that so they'd let me go. Like lying's
Yeah, true,
super
true.
easy. Do it whenever you want.
True enough.
New tech discovered. Lying.
Really,
This is going to be a theme for this entire first section.
really, I do want to point out at this point though, Patochki fucked up. Like, this
Yeah.
is like, hey, my son, go watch this heretic. I'm gonna leave you just with him, unsupervised for days at a time,
An
presumably.
unspecified amount of time.
At least an entire day.
Oh man, this guy just got let out of heretical prison. I'm just gonna let him hang out with my 12-year-old son for hours on end.
For time.
What was the heresy that he was convicted of? Astronomy. Oh, okay. Good thing that Rafal has never shown an interest in astronomy.
Good thing I just verbally forbade my 12-year-old from doing something. He'd never just go behind my back and do it.
Yeah, considering things that are revealed later, I gotta wonder how much of this is
Was on
Patochki
purpose.
was on purpose, yeah. Because Rafal it's an excellent comedy page turn as Rafal is just like, are you kidding me? This guy's strong-arming me into doing something radical? Never! I would never go out into the middle of the field at night with this weirdo. That is so stupid. Page turn. Wow, this guy is so brilliant here. I'm so glad I came here.
Yeah. And basically, he has Rafal draw out on the ground his understanding of how the cosmos works, which is essentially the Earth sits in the center, the stars are up in the heavens, and then the planets themselves have these weird, like daisy chained orbits where they occasionally go into retrograde, seemingly at random.
Mhm.
Which is part of why they're called planets, is because they have like a weird movement to their orbit.
Yes.
Orbit's a different word technically, but
A seemingly random path drawn through the night sky, making them seem as wanderers. And it is a very pretty mandala.
I don't know, Rafal. Would you call that beautiful?
I guess. I mean, beauty's really subjective and
No,
doesn't
no, no,
always-
no, no. Don't talk about like you're talking about the ugly chick next door. Tell me what you really feel about this.
It's pretty chaotic, I'm not gonna lie.
Do you think God would make something so ugly?
I don't like the direction this conversation is going.
Well, now I am going to literally be a wizard in this panel.
he's in his cloak with his hood up and his walking stick. He's Merlin, he's Gandalf,
Mhm.
imparting terrible wisdom upon the meek. You see, the earth is the one that moves. I'm sorry, what?
Well,
Yes.
hold on. No, that makes a lot of sense. Oh God. Oh no. It's so beautiful. It's just concentric circles.
Ah! Now you understand my thesis on the movement of the earth.
Hold on, that's really dumb. Because if the Earth was moving, if I jumped, how come I don't go flying like hundreds of miles back?
Well,
do we want to address why that's not a thing, or are we just going to move on? I vote we move on.
We move on.
yeah, we move on.
We're not a science podcast. Go look it up. Specifically, skim the first 5 minutes of the YouTube video and see if the person mentions like NASA's globe sails. And if so, that's a valuable source of information, and you should dive headfirst into that.
You were rotating as fast as the earth. This message has been related. But Rafal, he gives his reasons for not believing it. One of which is the whole jumping thing. The other is what can you do to prove this? And the third is nuh-uh. Nuh-uh is my favorite one because he's like, you're saying this is a gut feeling. Why would I trust your gut feeling?
You don't have to
They-
trust my gut feeling. I trust my gut feeling enough to die for it. Like,
Well, you're a weirdo. I'm going home. Oh crap, I slipped in this cow pie. Ah! Oh wow, that was crazy. As I slipped and fell, it seemed like the mountains themselves moved and consumed the wait.
Rafal, what you just said, that actually doesn't answer any of the problems you had. But I guess you hit your head really hard because now you're suddenly very gung ho.
It doesn't directly answer any of the problems, but it
His
I guess
his general problem with it is it's absurd. It goes against my observations.
Mhm.
The idea that something that is clearly moving is stationary, and something that I can physically feel is stationary is moving goes against my senses. But he sees a mountain move and consume the moon, which
Mhm.
would be it's not actually happening, but it is what
it shows him the limitations of his own senses.
yeah.
And so he then spends the rest of the night furiously doing math to calculate if the Earth is rotating. Because Hubert does explain that the Earth is rotating on two different levels. It is spinning and it is orbiting the sun. Actually, no, he doesn't say it's orbiting the sun. He talks about the axial tilt to explain seasons. But he does explain that the Earth rotates on two levels, which is a few levels too few, but whatever. We'll give him the grace of it.
He does use the phrase heliocentrism, so he is talking about revolving around the sun. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
And so Rafal then spends the rest of the night doing furious math to understand it. And
Furious math.
And as the midnight oil burns, the candle wick descends. And the sun rises. He comes to the beautiful concentric circles of the solar system. It all adds up.
all 7 planets.
Why, though? Why would you do this research that denies God's existence? No, boy, you don't understand. I'm not denying God's existence. I'm the only one who really sees the majesty of what he's made. I want everyone to witness the glory of God's creation.
Because this is that wonderful time when religion decided it had to be an enemy of science.
It's a sort of nebulous period between what. Yeah, for simplicity's sake, you're right.
Always been very confusing.
It doesn't go into the political, economic reasons. Actually, it does briefly mention the secularization of the church, which is a very interesting time.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about indulgences that happens.
Oh yeah, when the church was just selling paths into heaven. Speaking of things the Bible explicitly says you can't do.
It's a fun time. And by fun, I mean awful.
But it's at this point that Hubert goes, "All right, you have successfully completed your service to me. I'm not you anymore. Continue astronomy for your own sake. And now I will leave your life for goodbye." Oh, thank God that weirdo is out of my life forever. I'm just going to walk home and, oh God, why is the Inquisition here?
Why does the Inquisition have one of my books?
Hey, Raphael, how you doing? Came to check in how that heretic's doing since he's living with your pops. You haven't been talking with him, have you?
Oh, Mr. Novak. No, I would never talk with that guy. Hey,
Heretic says what? That normally works.
Weren't you the guy at that burning at the stake a little while ago who was yawning?
Yeah. I hunt heretics for a living. So I had a question. What's this in your book? Looks like heliocentrism, but that you wouldn't have heretical beliefs like that, would you, kid?
And while Rafal is busy blue screening, Hubert walks up and says, "It's mine."
Favorite character. Best character.
But Hubert, you're on your second chance, only chance. That would mean you'd be put to death immediately. You sure you just don't want this kid to get flogged and tortured instead of you?
No, I hid my own research among his things that he would take the fall for me, but I have decided instead to admit to my sins.
Also, Rafal, here's a cool pendant. This will be an arc object.
Meanwhile, Novak's just like, I'm gonna let you give that to him.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a bit weird.
It is a ball on a string with 3 dots engraved in it.
It's weird. You know, it's one of those situations. If Novak had a nickel for every time he let a heretic give a necklace to someone while he was in the process of killing the heretic. It's happened twice, but it's weird, right?
Yeah, it's definitely weird.
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it's happened twice.
And as Hubert is being taken away in the prison carriage, he calls after Rafal calls after him. "Hubert, didn't you say there was something you needed to do?" "I just finished it."
Meanwhile, in the alternate reality version of this, Novak's is like, what the fuck did you just say, heretic? You just finished some mission? Well, I'm gonna go kill that little boy.
Man, and it really is a good thing that Novak is so not. No, you know what it is? It's job security.
Well, here's the thing about Novak. He's also
He's a
really
mercenary.
Yes, we do get established that he is a mercenary who has been granted the title of Inquisitor by the bishop, I believe.
I think bishop. Yeah, he's a lazy mercenary. So like it's job security if he doesn't do a good job.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense that he isn't like following up on this.
He lets just enough heresy slip through to keep business steady.
Honestly, that's very in character for him. I'm not gonna lie.
I love when he's torturing a guy. He starts off going like, "So, you got any family? Oh, son? Oh man, I got a little daughter myself. Really just light of my life. Would love to, go back home to her after this." Oh, sorry, obviously you're not gonna I mean, I'm just making conversation. Yeah,
That's why this guy is the hugest of the assholes.
Weird thing is, I'm not even doing this out of like some big plan that I'm saving the world or anything. Just trying to make my neighborhood safe for her to grow up in. Well, I'm gonna rip out your teeth now. What a good day. Oh,
Please
Hey,
don't do
you
that.
must be the sun. Well, shit.
That's later. That's later.
Yeah, that's later. But Rafal takes a look at the little pendant and he's just like, huh, and with 3 stars or with 3 dots in a row. Didn't he say something about Orion's belt and 3 bits of rock in the terrain? Wait, the middle one was that mountain. I'm gonna go to that mountain. Holy crap, a box full of heretical research.
Yeah.
Which apropos of literally nothing else, wandering into the mountains, following the stars, and finding a stone box full of research that the church will kill you over feels like the start of a cosmic horror story.
Oh, I'm glad you're bringing this up now because this is a through line through here that I kept thinking of. Like, man, this is sure is good. This story is being told from the point of view of the heretics who are objectively the protagonists. Because this could very easily be like a cosmic horror about some kind of thought virus that infects people.
I look forward to the Delta Green mission, Matt.
That would be a fun Delta Green mission. The other thing that it easily sounds like is like a traditional hero's quest, which a character later will point out.
But inside the box is some research and a letter from a previous heretic saying,
Oh, it's Hubert.
oh, right, it's a letter from Hubert saying, hey, to whoever is reading this, I'm pretty sure that with the technology that we have available to us, I can never actually definitively prove my movement of the Earth theory. So it's probably safer for you to just burn everything in here. Which should be a shame, but that's the world we're living in.
But if you were to do some more heresy with it,
I couldn't stop you because at this point I'm dead. And
Mhm.
then Rafal makes the smartest decision he's made this entire time, and he immediately lights that box on fire.
He then proceeds to make the dumbest decision he's ever made and stomp the fire out.
which like
The fire was so big by the time he stomps it out, too. Like, I'm like, you
It
really
actually-
should have
What are you
decided this
saving?
earlier. I honestly don't know what he's saving.
I'm giving them poetic license, I guess.
So it's not just like research papers either. There's like astronomical equipment or astrological
Yeah.
equipment in here, which a fire wouldn't have destroyed. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, it would have harmed it. I
It would have
suppose.
It would have
damaged them,
damaged
but-
it, but yeah.
Look, it's symbolic.
Yeah. So anyway, Rafal goes back into his light Yagami plan. Because he then basically he has the potato chip scene, essentially, where he's sitting at his desk going like, I was too brazen earlier. I lucked out by having someone take the fall for me, but I have a 40-year plan on how I will go to college. I will start with theology. I will then make some friends in the theological department. I will then move into astronomy. I will create a theological defense for heliocentrism, and then I will start making political adversaries that when the time is right and there is sympathy to outward opinions, I will publish and become a hero amongst heroes. Also, I had a fight with my dad earlier about quitting astronomy again. So I did.
Little drama queen that he is, Rafal stands up in class and says, yes, thank you, everybody, for lovely off. By the way, I'm changing my major. I'm not studying theology. I'm studying astronomy.
What? Yeah, and then dad basically forces him to switch over.
I love this because it's a setup for a Chekhov's gun where Patochky is like, I will not sign your certificate to get into university unless you renounce astronomy and say you're going to study theology. Okay, Dad, I'll do it. All right, good. Thank the good Lord. I will sign it right now. I lied.
I lied.
Good thing I learned the advanced tech of lying.
I lied as easily as I breathe, because nothing is more important than the truth of the world. Wait. Yes, that tracks.
Anyway, I did some more studies. I did some calculations. Going to burn it all before I leave in the morning, just to cover my tracks. I learned my lesson from last time.
And then what he didn't realize is that one of the pages of the documents he was writing on was special paper that doesn't burn in fire.
Well, no, he did just a really shitty job of burning the paper is what happened. Like he started a fire on the paper and just tossed the paper into it, but it wasn't a big enough fire to actually consume the stack of papers. So like a chunk is just living, and like his dad comes home, sees the pile of ashes, going like, "Oh, something didn't finish burning. What is this?" And then we cut back to Rafal getting home, noticing there's a burned piece of paper on his desk that has had corrections to his math done. And he's just like, something was left out. It didn't burn completely. What could this possibly mean? And there are corrections in this paper? I don't understand. And then it's just like a knock on the door. Hey, Rafal, buddy, how's it going? So, weird thing I'm just going to point out right now. If you don't make sure, uh, paper will fire will just go out sometimes while burning paper. You need to make sure things burn completely. You
Just
do
saying.
you, buddy. And it's just like, my God, that was close. My father almost understood what I'd been doing, the fool that he was. I've gotten away with everything. Back to my 40-year plan. Somehow forgetting that corrections had been done to the math. Like,
Yeah, he is 12.
yeah, then we then cut to the dad who's just like, I can't believe I made those corrections on the math. Did I fall back into my old ways? But it felt good. And then knock at the door. Novak's there. Hey,
Yep.
Hello there.
buddy.
I can't decide if I hate or love his character.
You love to hate him.
Yeah, I guess.
He's a good antagonist is the thing. You're not supposed to like him like a friend. You're supposed to like how smarmy and awful he is, which he is.
He somehow has a 1600s fade for a haircut, and I hate him.
Yeah. And he's showing up at the door going like, hey, Potachki. So I know you were watching that Hubert guy, and yeah, sorry he went back to his heretical ways. Don't worry, we've executed him, so problem solved there. But that did bring up a thing. I remembered you had also had a little problem with heretical beliefs in your youth. And just came to check in on that because that is weird. We allowed you to be released, him to be released into your custody.
I've long since changed my mind on such things. I'm a man. I'm a man of God now. There's no place there.
Oh, no. I believe you, the whimpering dog that you are. That being said, what's your son up to? I heard he's going to college for astronomy.
No, theology. Why would you think that?
Oh, because I found those notes in his room that Hubert took credit for, but it was in such a weird situation, I couldn't have possibly not believed that your son had written them. Well, regardless, hey, I'm just going to let you know, first-time offenders, we're just really giving them slaps on the wrist at this point. They just renounce their beliefs, and he can go on and be a good little Sunday school kid. Not saying he is, but aiding and abetting a heretic is kind of executable offense, especially if you've already got one strike. And really, you should let us know before there's even proof. Because if there's proof, we don't need you anymore. So, really, if we find out later, you would die. Weird how this hypothetical keeps involving specific information about you. So, I'm just going to leave you with that information and hope you make the right decision.
By the way, did I mention that the way we execute heretics is burning them, which does reduce the body to ash, meaning there's no body to return to for the resurrection?
Yep. Because cremation destroys the path for your soul to get back to. Which is weird because they explicitly refer to heaven as if it's a place in this time, but he's referencing the belief system that heaven is the time when Jesus returns and brings back everyone to life. This is going too much into theology.
Yeah, we're avoiding studying theology and studying astronomy instead.
It is a weird juxtaposition of belief systems that at the time is probably very accurate, honestly.
Yeah, the tangled rat's nest of dogma feels very true to life, honestly.
He's also just threatening him, is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At which point, Patochky later that night goes to Rafal, comes to him, and they're having a conversation. And he's like, Rafal, my boy, could you prove the Earth movement theory? Yeah?
Yeah, I could probably do that, Pops.
We never talked about this. Okay.
My dad thinks I'm some kind of super genius who's gonna solve all world's problems. I am so cool and nothing bad is ever going to happen to me.
Good
Said
morning.
Light Yagami. Yeah, he literally wakes up to Novak sitting at his bedside, which is like,
Smiling down at him.
this guy got a report that this kid was a heretic and proceeded to go up into his bedroom and sit at his bedside and wait for him to wake up naturally.
That's a dedicated level of hating.
Look, there are people who hate and then there are haters. Novak is the later.
Anyway, Rafal, now that I've got you in prison, your Inquisition officially begins tomorrow, which gives you some time to think about the consequences. Hey, you see this thing? It's called a pain pair.
Why does it look like a sex toy?
Are you going to shove that up my ass? No, I'm going to put it in your mouth. Who do you think I am, a Catholic?
Could you shove it up my ass?
No, you're missing the point. The point is we're going
This
to
is a whole
hurt you.
different heretical belief over here. Wait a minute.
The point being, all you need to do is sign an official document saying that you rescind all heretical beliefs and have had a change of heart. And I don't need to exact every exquisite scream from you as I make every nerve ending light a flame with my incredibly well-trained arts of pain.
Oh, cool. And then I just get to go straight to college and continue any plans I might have had before?
I don't like the way you phrase that, but yes.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Honestly, I feel like Novak actually does like the way he phrased that. Again, there is some degree of, I feel like Novak is letting stuff slide on purpose from a combination of, well, it keeps me employed with the church, and also I don't really feel like paying attention to this.
Honestly, I would not be surprised if Novak gets paid by the heretic. Like,
He certainly does his job that way.
Rafal, like most, honestly, this is the most shonen pro tag he gets, which makes sense because he's a young boy. He's making his plan to lie at the Inquisition jury tomorrow, and it's like I can continue on my plan from there. I just need to say one untruth, and then I can continue my.
and I don't have any problem with lying, as I've established repeatedly.
Mm-hmm. And then we cut to the next day. He's at the jury. The panelist just like, yes, you admit that you had done heretical research. I do. And you admit that this research is heretical because it opposes the teachings of the church. Yes. And so you understand that if you admit to being a heretic, you will forfeit all research on this topic and we will destroy it. Yes. Excellent. Just go ahead and sign this document and you can go on your merry way and continue to live your life. Fuck you, he rips it in half.
You, Earth goes around the sun. Bitch. It's like the most dramatic way possible.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he's doing it in like a moment of passion, is really what's fun about this scene.
Yeah, which is why I say it's the most shonen thing, because it's literally a young man fire in his heart, idealistic moment.
Yeah, the rational voice in his head is constantly telling him, just lie. It doesn't matter. We can pick ourselves up and brush ourselves off from this. Like, this isn't the end of everything. We can get this to work. And he's just like, no, you. I'm not going to do what you tell me.
Ideals matter. Honestly, kind of based.
Not only is it kind of based, but also one of the core themes of this story is that ideals and the truth do in fact matter. And, you know, like a lot of talk about it's like, how would you prove this with the technology that exists right now? This is the kind of thing, you know, like, and this is true for all scientific endeavors. Like the focus of this is on astronomy because that's an easy, you know, topic to adapt into this format. But like, this is kind of the truth of all science, you know, caring about the truth matters. It's how we learn more. It's how we develop the technology to be able to prove this, that, or the other thing. It's
Science is inherently provisional, and that makes it self-correcting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and like honestly, the problem is you've got a bunch of people who are objectively scientists who are going with a gut feeling that is essentially just we have two models for how this can work. They both depict the same criteria. One of them is just so much simpler than the other. And isn't that so much cleaner? Isn't that so much nicer? Isn't that just so beautiful?
Yeah, and this is actually depicting one of the kind of real world problems with science is there's so much more excitement in finding something new. Exploratory studies are done way more often than follow-up studies are, but the
Mhm.
follow-up studies are the more important ones. And then like the
Repeat.
problem
It's like Adam Savage
has
said. I love data.
and it's like the problem here is that because there's such a ferocious opposition to just the idea that things might not be the way that they're initially presented, it's it's galvanizing the people who are asking the questions into looking for solutions rather than the data itself. The fact that they happen to be right about this is immaterial. It is an awful situation to conduct science in. It's not something that's come up yet. Like it will be alluded to a bit later, but like this environment is inherently toxic to the core concept of truth.
Mhm.
And that's ultimately what is wrong with this world.
Preach.
Yeah. So anyway, Rafal is thrown back in prison. He is essentially getting the good treatment where some like nice wine and presumably a meal had been brought in earlier because he is going to be tortured. So it's kind of like a
To
weird
death.
yeah, it's gonna be like a like nicety, and then he's like, yeah, better enjoy it because the torture starts tomorrow as like Novak steps in. And Rafael going full. He goes so light Yagami, he kind of veers into Lelouch near the end
A little bit.
because he's just like,
Oh my
ah,
God, right?
yes. Novak, please enjoy. Let me pour you some wine. Quite a lovely vintage. I am amazed they give prisoners this. So you're going to be torturing me, you say? Oh my, what an interesting thing to say. By the way, I've got a wee bit of an anecdote here. Do you know anything about poppies?
Mm.
Uh,
It's very cartoon.
there's just a bunch of panels of the only thing is him. The only thing in his speech bubbles is question marks with a bewildered look on his face.
You kind of wonder, why did Novak come down here? Like,
Oh, I love it.
and he's essentially just like, yes, and they're highly poisonous.
Well, especially when consumed with alcohol.
And then Novak immediately starts like shoving his hand down his throat to induce vomiting because he assumes that this kid is trying to kill him. And he's just like, oh, my good man, no, I'm not poisoning you. I've poisoned me. A lovely,
You
painless death.
You fool! Why would you do such a thing? Because you see, just because it's a wrong choice does not make it meaningless.
Oh,
You are going up against truth itself.
Also, I do want to mention suicide is like the worst type of sin you can commit. Your soul is stricken from existence. Like, it's not.
I care not, for I have sent the beacon of truth as a blinding torch forward into the future, and you can never stop that.
I do like this moment because, like,
We're
saying, we're joking about it, but what he's saying is, I am opposing the church. You are opposing truth. My work will continue past me, and you will ultimately lose. And that is the solace I am taking to my grave. Which is a really, it's like there's the heat of the moment where he rips the paper in front of everybody, but this is like he's made his decision. He's thought it through.
I am accepting my death because I believe in I believe in truth. And I am content with my life being spent on this. Meanwhile, I do love this minor little character thing from this is like the genuine concern on Novak's face when he hears you're going to kill yourself. Like, nope, hold on. No, like you being executed and you killing yourselves are drastically different things. Do not do this. Like, this isn't, oh man, you're doing my job for me. It's him legitimately saying, you are damning your soul beyond whatever you've done. Like, this is irredeemable, as opposed, like, there are different scales, and it's just a
Yeah.
fun little bit of characterization there.
And it's actually also really cool and interesting because Novak is kind of presented as someone like you kind of get the impression he doesn't really care about the church, but like he sees this child doing something that is like so extreme, and that gets a reaction out of him. And moreover, the other thing I really like about this is that Rafal's entire speech is being played directly to Novak.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just saying like you will lose, haha, therefore I win. He's saying like not necessarily you specifically, but people like you will be converted to my side. Ultimately, you know, it will be found that this was the right path. And it really does kind of feel like obviously like Rafal doesn't hand over the arc item to Novak, but like it really does feel like he's planting in Novak's mind the seed of the truth matters more than comfort or dogma or whatever is directly in front of you. Which does there is a level of it that kind of seems to appeal to the mercenary in Novak, even though he's not like overtly swayed or anything. Like he doesn't have a noticeable change of heart or anything.
What's the incredibly hammy line from the Castlevania show? Like, how many old men do you have to kill until you feel safe? Like, so with that, Raphael dies. They burn his body on a cross because he is a heretic, so he doesn't get buried, which fair. But he is not tortured, and they are burning a body. They are not causing him any pain.
About sending a message, really.
I was like, okay, they're not torturing the child well enough, but they're not killing the child, right? Oh no, they killed the child. He's dead.
Were you
He is.
expecting a heel turn where it was revealed that
No.
he faked his death?
I expected it for like a half a minute, and then I got to the next chapter, and I was like, okay, no, boy's really dead. All right.
I was expecting it up until I saw them burning his body on the cross, and I'm like, oh well, they're not going to be like, I only drank, or I didn't actually drink poison. I just told Novak I drank poison. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was like a low enough dose to go comatose but survive.
Yeah. And then they burned
then-
the body, so it
And
didn't
then they
matter.
burned the body. So like, how would he? How is he gonna get out of this one?
Yeah, the protagonist that we've been following, we only have with us for 4 chapters.
I don't know. Ask the Code Geass fanboys. I'm sure they can come up with some reason for why a character who died didn't really die. I guess maybe.
Magic.
Oh.
They did have a character who was shot all over their body, but apparently only took extraneous wounds.
Yeah, but that's different because reasons I don't know. Moving on.
Yep. Well, Protag's dead. We need new Protags.
10 years later.
10 years later.
Really, the true protagonist of this is heliocentrism, but
Yeah. I mean, that's a funny joke, but it's also kind of true.
which is kind of like the theme is that like the truth can't die; it can only be hidden, kind of deal.
Yeah. Because, and you know, I mean, this is sort of the thing. Like, this is, in a large part, this is kind of the reason why, despite the fact that a lot of these people pursuing the scientific endeavor are going at it with their conclusion already decided upon, the reason why they are right about this, because everyone is really doing this, is because a bunch of people are independently coming to the same conclusion with different data sets, like different pieces of a more complete data set. Like that is the path to truth, you know? And that is why it doesn't matter. You can burn every document, you can kill every proponent of a theory, but people will always notice things. People will always start to put it together, and eventually, truth becomes truth is immutably overt.
Oh man, and like I don't know. When I was reading this, I kind of got a little bummed out that they'd killed the main character. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I need to find new people. And I was still kind of like in the mindset that I was expecting this to be like a shonen action about heliocentrism. And like it took me like no time to latch on to these new guys.
Yeah,
And I'm like, oh cool,
I-
anthology series, perfect. Like
I love these new guys. They are great.
Yeah, no, this is the kind of thing that
The shockingly philosophical peasants.
it's something that I've said it is an idea that I'd like to see. It's very rare, but like have a bait and switch protagonist. Like set it up like Rafal is going to be the main character. You know, give him a future story path, but then he's not the main character, and it moves on to something else.
yeah, because we get introduced to these two lower class individuals who have like guild work, so they're like lowborn, like bottom of the barrel. We'll find out what their guild is a little later, which is very interesting and like
It's super interesting.
it fits into such a narrow time frame of when that was like actually done. That's beautiful. But
It's great for the period piece aspect of this.
yeah, I want to talk about Okji, who is like one of my favorite brands of Christianity, which I think I talked about a little bit in Vinland Saga, where like the fallen kingdom branch of Christianity, which is really big in like technically like Arthurian times if you're going by like actual history, not like legend, but like that era where Rome had fallen and the world had lost a bunch of technology and was steadily getting worse and worse, which coincided with the church kind of coming in going like, it has been years since the death of our savior and watch this fallen world crumble to ash around you. Because like you're living in a post-apocalyptic world where your only thing you're holding on to is hope that the next life is better. And Okji, despite the fact this is 1500, so this is actually, you've had a bit of an upswing, kind of. It's not that era, but it's the same mindset of Earth is the bottom because everything falls towards Earth. It is the lowest of the low. It is a horrible place that God has placed us in so that we can know that we are beings of sin and we are deserving of the punishment put upon us so that when we die and go to heaven, we can be worthy of it. And like, I don't know how much of this is just me talking about Catholic guilt, but it speaks to a part of my soul so deeply.
I mean, that is what Okji's character is, and I think it kind of makes sense because other people see him as an oddball for feeling this way. So it's his life circumstances that have caused him to come to that conclusion rather than it being a common thought of the time.
Yeah, it's a very interesting look at geocentrism too. Is like if things go down because things go down, everything is falling down towards Earth, and in that model, presumably it's being pulled towards hell. So like heaven falls towards hell through Earth. It's just that has terrifying just conclusions to be drawn from that.
That's the plot of a cosmic horror.
Yes, it is. But yeah, Okji is so terrified by this that he is told that the stars do not fall because they are looking down upon us, judging us for our sins, that he cannot look up into the night sky because when he looks up there, he sees a crowd of eyes all staring down upon him, judging him for not being perfect and worthy of God's kingdom.
Well, that's healthy.
Yeah.
That's normal.
A good amount of fear that's, contributes to the cosmic horror of the situation, yes.
And you're like, oh man, well typically you just try and be a good person, and try and be a good person is a very loaded term when you're talking about
this context.
yeah, because that exact phrase is a trigger word for.
Are you a good person? Are you a good person?
Well, by definition, some people believe you can only be a good person by accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior and asking his personal forgiveness, and everything else doesn't matter beyond that. But we're going to stop going into theological debates. We're going to study astronomy. So he is paired with a man named Gallus, who seems kind of chipper. He's got a different sort of worldview that the heavens are beautiful, the stars are beautiful. He loves the night sky. Which he's trying to share with Okji. basically like trying to just build camaraderie. They've been partners for a year, and you're like, that's weird. They're going out to work late at night. What could their job possibly be?
Are they putting on masks?
Oh, they're putting on hoods? And now they're saying, yeah, so we've put on hoods to disguise ourselves as by the dictate of our guild because it stops fighting against
Retaliation.
retaliation. Retaliation against what? You know how you challenged a lord to a duel?
Yeah.
We've been hired by him to act as his champions, and we're gonna fight you. What? Yeah, you agreed to this. Oh, well, I have to fight you? Yep, to the death. To the death? Yeah, and we're really good at fighting. And he proceeds to kill him with like little to no hesitation.
Little to no hesitation, little to no effort. He unmakes this guy.
And like, there are so many people walking around with hoods on. Like, their guild is very populous. And it's like the idea that we're in this narrow section of time where people have legal duels, but the rich are just paying professional, like, killers
Professional killers, yeah.
to go fight the duels for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not about honor at this point, is the deal. It is a means to kill a person you don't like.
It's very much not about honor because Oki has a device designed to capture his opponent in a trap. It's a serrated blade that he can pull out, catch his opponent's sword, and trap it so that he can disarm them for a swift kill.
Yeah. So Okji murders this dude, and you suddenly wonder why a guy like him might be worried that he's not going to heaven,
Uh-huh.
because he does murders for a living. And he talks with Gallus at the bar about this, and is essentially kind of there's like a high class guy who starts a fight with them and says
Yeah,
you don't belong there.
They go to the bar. They go to a noble's bar. These low-class peasants, what are they doing here?
Hey, our guild says we're allowed to be here.
Okay.
Oh, this is the way that you apologize for existing. Forgive me for being born! Repeated about 30 times.
I'm so sorry for being a lower-class peasant. Please, I'm sorry, forgive me.
At which point the noble is like, okay, please, just shut up.
Pretty precious guilt.
I love how this noble says, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to bother you anymore. Then proceeds to sit directly next to them in this very not crowded bar.
I'm going to proceed to bother you anyway.
I sit here, but you do not need to talk to me.
My favorite part is at around this time, this already very wordy manga becomes even wordier as these two delve deep into philosophical discussions of hope, truth, and beauty.
Mm-hmm. And like,
I sound derisive, but I honestly love this. This is great.
yeah, because it turns out that Okji's main thing is not that he is a killer who is destined to hell. It is that everybody he kills has like
They die with fear on their
pained,
face.
frightened expression, as if they are facing their death, as if they are staring into the pits of hell itself. And he's just like, I kill a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people die. They all look terrified, like they're all going to hell. So if so many people are going to hell, what chance do I have?
Mm-hmm. No, Oki, my friend, you don't understand. The afterlife, that's for later. We need to concern ourselves with the world that we're in right now. But the world we're in right now sucks. That is what you would think if you did not witness the beauty around you. Behold, my little book of circles.
I love circles.
I can't read.
Well, then allow me to explain it to you. You see, after my family horribly died, which I will not say to you, you will find this out later. But after my family horribly died, I became very distraught. And in seeking a reason to continue to live, since the church said I couldn't kill myself to be with my family, I turned to the beauty of the heavens above, and I witnessed Mars orbiting in the night sky. And ever since I first saw that, I must witness the perfect circle of Mars. I have to see it. That way I will know that the heavens above are as perfectly wrought as God's own design, and it is a connection to the sublime existence my family must be having in the afterlife. It is my hope for this world of mortal flesh and for the afterlife beyond for our immortal souls.
Meanwhile, the rich guy right next to him overhears this and goes like, "Yo, what? You said perfect circle?
Dumbass!
Wait like 2 fucking days, idiot." What? Nothing. I'm gonna go back to drinking.
I well, that was weird. Anyway, night Oki, have a good day. Yeah, bye Gallus. And that's when
This
he
is when we
wanders.
get the backstory about his family dying.
Yes,
Yeah,
with characters who will never be seen again.
Yeah, benefits of all these guild members wearing masks. Oki wanders upon some more guild members who just give him exposition without needing to have unique character models.
Except they do have unique character models because they remove the mask to talk to him.
Yeah, true.
Oh. But yeah, we cut to Gallus, who, unfortunately, while watching Mars, it is not completing his perfect circle because, like the drunk noble in the bar said, Mars has gone into retrograde and is not going to form a perfect circle. It is in its 2-year orbit doing the part where it randomly decides to go backwards for no reason. And this shakes Gallus's worldview to the point that Matt, while reading this, thought he was going to throw himself off the roof he was standing on.
Yeah, they set that up for.
Yeah,
Yep.
that
Sam thought the same thing.
The scene is definitely portrayed like that is a strong option.
Mm-hmm.
well, I mean that's exactly it. He's weighing his options. He chooses not to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I do like the character moment. It's not discussed here, but it's kind of like woven into a conversation they have later. The reason why he doesn't kill himself is because he's just like, if I kill myself, then I am completely removed from the chance of ever seeing my family again.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am certain that they were good people who did not deserve to die. They are in heaven. He is certain of that. The problem is whether or not he's deserving of heaven, and that's an entirely different problem he has.
Yep. And before he has too much time to contemplate this, he gets back to the raw practicalities of life, where they have their next job. It's not all being the hired champions of nobles with a grudge. They have been hired as the mercenary guards of a caravan escorting a heretic to his justly deserved death.
Man, that sounds like a completely different arc, Sam. You think
You're
maybe
right,
we
it does.
should take a mild break before we get back to it?
You know
Oh
what, Matt?
no. Is the Over Manga Cast going into retrograde?
We'll be right back.
Plaza, plaza,
Plaza.
your god isn't real.
Welcome back to the show, folks, where last we left our heretic to be purged for the Emperor. Or something like that.
Wrong universe.
They need to be purged for Sigmar?
Anyway, we're in a nighttime rainy carriage ride.
The whole thing with this second portion where they get a lot more into the philosophical discussion, very wordy talks between characters, really comes to a head here. And I quite enjoyed this because, Gallus takes off his hood because he's not too concerned about his identity being known by this man already condemned to death. And that's got its own symbology. It's like Gallus isn't too concerned about his current life. He considers himself condemned to death, which was something we already knew, but the thing that had been giving him a reason to live is now gone or changed. There's a lot of complex emotions going on, basically. But there's this whole conversation between the heretic and Gallus and Okki, where he
The
chastises
the
he chast
heretic starts spouting the anti-life equation for some reason.
he chastises them pliant lives of believing what they're told, at which point they go, we don't live soft lives, we're men of the street who fight for our daily bread. It's just like, yeah, but you fight to maintain the world that is, not the world that should be, and that means that you're sheeple. Bat.
You are so focused on a life that has been promised to you. You don't even consider that that is a mere lie to keep you complacent. Why focus on a better world to be promised for you in the future when you can make the world you know exists with your own two eyes better before you?
I mean, the way that Matt is presenting it is, strictly speaking, what he's saying, but he phrases it in the most antagonistic way possible with his spooky hood, and this guy is not very persuasive, is what I'm trying to get at.
This guy is the atheist in every single like Christian crush an atheist video, who's just like, I'm here in my large hood, who is about to say, your God is fake. I have read your so-called book, and it is full of lies.
Here to crush your hopes specifically. I'm not here to persuade you. I'm here to destroy your worldview.
With facts and logic.
Your book says a lot about the multiple holes pegged into your savior, but then 3 days later it does not say much about what he did in return.
Gallus goes ahead, cuts the heretic free, and they take over the carriage to make a daring escape into the driving rain of the night to go and find the truth of the world. At which point, Novak goes FaZe Clan and kills the horse.
360 no scopes.
Because we cut to the inside of that carriage, and the priest is just sitting with Novak, who's like, man, this is really boring. I could take a nap right now. And the priest is just like, you do know sloth is one of the 7 deadly sins. It's actually very serious. You might want to not do whatever this is. I don't know. Oh, carriage is over. Better go kill a man. Doop, doop, doop. Done.
Wait, hold on. Those bolts are very expensive. You can't just shoot without authorization. Boom! Yep, and I took out the horse. Aren't I a good shot? In the rain, at night, while both carriages are sloshing about on different courses. It's actually a miracle of a shot.
Ellis is very good at his job, which is killing people.
Dude's got archery 5. And
we also see that he's quite adept with a blade.
Yep.
He has a gladius, if it wasn't obvious where they had picked him up from.
Because the carriage is overturned, the heretics and the guards for hire are spilled out onto the rain-soaked soil. And while he makes a whole big show of, man, you guys are saying that you were just intimidated by the heretic, but better safe than sorry. I'm just gonna stab you. Oh, wow, you dodged. Pretty impressive. All right, let's square off. Come on, let's duel. And Oki goes, oh.
There are literally no openings whatsoever in his guard.
If I fight him, I'm going to die. He's too skilled for me. He's at that point where he's at that point in a skill where he knows enough to know he doesn't know, and that is proof enough to him that if he fights Novak, he's a corpse already.
So he just throws down his sword. He goes, "Me culpa, I give up. You are clearly the better fighter. I subject to your will." And Novak's got just a hilarious response because he goes, "Oh, he's giving up. What does the contract say about giving up?" And he starts literally going through some papers in this pouring rain as he's reading for like what to do in this situation. And he finally gets, okay, subject gives up. Up to Inquisitor's like
discretion.
What a worthless thing to say. I hate that.
Well, better kill. That's better all I know.
Yeah. And as he goes to strike down Okji, the heretic jumps in front of the blade and takes
Get
'Cause
down, Mr. President Sim.
because he was already dead on the ground, but had enough energy to hop in front and go like, I'm dying because I'm passing on my wisdom. Uh, take my necklace. Meanwhile, Novak's just like, he's got that same necklace from that kid I killed.
Crazy.
Well, better just pause and hold him on the end of my sword while he gives that away.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I like Novak is so extra because like he does eventually pull the sword out of the heretic as Okji is running away, and like he puts up the finger for the aim as he's going to throw his sword because running after him would be too much effort.
This is just proof that Novak is a D&D character because he's like I can do an improvised weapon toss of my sword, right? Sure.
It's still within 4 squares, right? I don't have disadvantage on this.
I mean, yeah, but you've also got a crossbow. Maybe you want to use that. No, I don't like keeping track of ammo. You.
Bolts are too expensive. The Pope's gonna get mad about it or something. I'm just gonna throw my sword.
And
part of
specifically, it's Gallus who ends up blocking the throne sword.
Yeah, he gets in there with his defender feet.
Part of me wanted to look up when what year this had to have taken place before crossbows were made illegal because they were not very Christian.
They said it was like the first half of the 15th century, so early 1600s.
That's
no other way.
That is a fun papal decree where the Pope is essentially just like, we're losing wars because the other side has crossbows. Crossbows are unchristian.
What was that about secularization of the church?
Well, we're in the period of time where we have a bunch of popes that we don't like talking about anymore.
And with that are to here is a night, and they follow Orion's belt to get to the stone box. Where
it is also worth noting. I like this because so I don't think Novak has like had a change of heart or anything, but I feel like it might be trying to imply something because when the other priest is like, we have to go after them, Novak's response is, I'm pretty sure they can't read. That them finding whatever the heretic was protecting isn't gonna matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see that being just trying to play him off as being lazy, that he doesn't want to chase after them, because he kind of like starts saying, "Oh man, that'd be a pain" in one bubble, and then has to go, "Oh no, yeah, crossbow bolts are expensive. Don't want to waste them."
Yeah,
So he's kind of just making excuses.
yeah. I don't know. I there's a part of me that feels like that maybe something that Rafal said is lingering with him. So it's like going after them is effort, and besides, you know,
Yeah, they
maybe
don't have
they'll
the
find some
ability.
truth.
They also aren't learned men, so they're not at risk of heretical thought because
Yeah,
they don't have like theological thought. So
yeah. I do just like the moment of him being lazy again.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're able to find the stone box.
they're able to find the stone box, at which point Gallus is able to read some of it. Oki is able to read none of it, except for the single word meaning Earth.
They basically discuss with each other. One thing that I think is kind of interesting is that a lot of this section they do a lot of in medias res, where they'll have like a scene and then they'll flash back to previous. I don't know. I feel like there might be some kind of fun thing that it's playing with, like with the idea of like, like the story is in retrograde or something. I don't know if that's on purpose yet. We haven't really read enough to be sure, but
It does become a discussion between the two of them, where Gallus is like, so you're telling me that this box says that it says something about the nature of the orbits of Earth and the planets, and it might explain why Mars went into retrograde and caused this break in my philosophical viewpoint. Okay, we could perhaps make great use of this. We actually have two choices ahead of us. Either we continue to follow down this trend and we begin this research ourselves, or we turn it over to the Inquisition as our meal ticket back into civil society.
Yeah, the other thing that's kind of important is that he presents those options in reverse order, and he's basically like the logical thing, the intelligent thing. The thing that I'm quite frankly, because you're my friend, I'm going to recommend you do is turn this stuff over to the church. They'll burn it. You'll be, forgiven for getting caught up in my shenanigans. What I want to do is to look into this further because I have a friend who told me about Mars initially.
Mm-hmm.
But considering that we have a character who is strong of purpose and knows what he needs to do, and we have a character who is unsure of his path forward, we need one of them to dramatically fall off of a bridge.
So the one thing about Okji is he is going along with this because the life experience he just had was when he saw the heretic die. That person had a content look on his face because he was dying for something he believed in. And that shakes Okji's worldview, the idea that whatever this path they're on is giving him peace of mind that he has not had so far. Like, this is a person who did not look like they were staring hell in the face as they faced their end. They were peaceful and content as if they were ascending to heaven.
Mm-hmm. Which is something that he has never experienced. He has never seen somebody leave this earth with a measure of contentment. And that is kind of shaking his worldview because he still believes that things afterwards is the reward for this suffering. And he he explains, this is why I can't look up at the sky, because the sky is the glimpse into the perfection of heaven, but my solid mortal eyes cannot gaze upon it. They look down on me in contempt, for I am filthy and they are clean. Does his best to relieve him of this by saying, listen, man, I understand that, but you're looking at this from the wrong angle.
Yeah.
These aren't the eyes of God. This is the light of his creation. This is your opportunity to see the care that God put into the world rather than the contempt he heaps upon man.
Mhm.
And I really do like the juxtaposition between these two because it's a very clear optimism versus pessimism. And even when Gallus does, spoiler alert, fall off the bridge and die, he's inherently optimistic. Even in the absolutely fucking ridiculous way that he dies.
Yeah, because that is right now that happens. And it's literally, they go, okay, Okji, my friend, I have been allowing you to just go along with my decisions so far. You have made the choice to, but now I am making you make a firm decision on your own. We go forward or we go home. Well, I'll go forward, I suppose. Okay, well, I will take one step forward. Thank goodness this bridge is still working. Last time I was here, it was in dangerous need of repair. They must have gotten around to it. Allow me just to step onto this one part that appears to be made out of dust and vines. Oh, no!
Oh no! As the bridge collapses underneath Gallus, he reaches out desperately
With his
but-
book.
with his book, and Oki leaps off the bridge, grabs some vines and the book, saving Gallus.
Well, the thing is, Gallus was like,
He was
they
getting
have a
ready
bit
to
of the
hand
same
the book to Oki.
Yeah, they have a similar conversation as before, where Gallus is saying the logical thing to do would be to abandon me and abandon this, but I can't. But I want to entrust this to you. And one of the arguments that he gives that I think is really interesting and really sweet is, I don't want to see this world as inherently filthy and worthless because this is where I met and lived with my family.
Yeah, that was
Yep.
really good.
That's such a sweet, sentimental sentiment that really appeals to me.
How can a world that gave me this human love and connection be irredeemable?
But yeah, in the motion of him saying, I know the logical thing for you to do is ignore me, but I want you to do this. That's when he gets cliffed and we get the holding on. It's sort of funny because it's like 3 ridiculous cliffings in a row.
It is the most convoluted hanging off the cliff edge because it is literally he falls, he holds out the book. Okji jumps down with a vine, which insane reaction time, to grab the book and is holding him up by they are both holding on to this book. He then tries to let go of the book so that he can have his death scene. But Okji has slipped his foot underneath the necklace and is holding him by that.
And I'm like,
How does that not break his neck?
Look, normally, I'm the kind of guy who can just kind of, all right, this is fiction. We're here for drama. We're not here for realism. I'm not going to be the guy that looks at a car crash and says that should have killed them. But even my disbelief could not be suspended for this because forget breaking his neck. How did that cord hold?
Yeah.
That as well. And like honestly, the angle at which he's dangling doesn't look like there's any gravity.
Yeah, he's floating there. Bro is in 0G.
Okji's just that strong. How dare you doubt him?
And Okji's just like, why are you trying to die? It's not that I'm trying to die. It's that my hope has been entrusted to you. I can die knowing that the belief I had will live on in this that I had hope in. But that's inherently anathema to my own belief system. I know, but I hope that I'll give you a reason to live. Goodbye, my friend. This is destiny. As he breaks the necklace and plummets into the river.
Another really good element of that is he says that I can still see a fear of death in your eyes, which, it's like,
for all your talk of heaven being your one salvation, you want to live.
Yeah, it's very similar to the moment in Berserk that I really liked with hanging on to the sword.
Yeah, she grabs onto the sword to save herself from falling, even as it cuts her fingers.
If you're so ready to die, why do you fight so hard to live? It's because you don't want to die. It's because this world is worth living in. It's such a, for as goofy as the rest of this scene is, that is a powerful message, and that element of it is well executed, even if the physics is hilariously questionable. But now Okji is on his own. How can this one character who can't read possibly finish the work of heliocentrism?
Well, you see, it's a good thing that there happens to be a priest who is so very, very close to Rafael that I deadass believed he faked his death.
Yes, I was so confused.
There was a part of me who's like, wait, blonde, and literally the exact same personality. Okay, so I'm just going to say this here. I don't think that this is where the manga is going, and quite frankly, I don't want it to go here. But there is a part of me who's like, they did have hints that Novak was at least to some degree swayed by Rafal. Did he fake his death and then Novak burned a fake corpse? I don't think the manga's going there, and I don't want the manga to go there. But that thought did cross my mind.
Guys, sometimes a mangaka can only draw 7 faces. And you run out of faces.
Call them out.
Like this guy's got an eye patch. Rafael did not have an eye patch.
The ages don't match up.
And Matt's a One Piece fan. He would know.
Dog's not my forte. We accept this.
But we are introduced to Badani in the most light Yagami way possible.
I know people who name characters subtly, and they're all cowards. It's a baddie!
It's a peaceful day in the Priory, out there in the scenic mountain ranges, when a monk goes into a room and says, hey, I need some help with these calculations. Numbers. And he immediately spits out the answer without even having to think about it. Is that all? I have to get back to my work.
Yes,
work.
Also, to clarify, we're having a prolonged flashback telling us Badini's entire backstory before
Yes.
He
Okji
got the
goes
eye
to meet him.
patch.
Yeah, before Okji goes to meet him. This is multiple chapters long, and it is not really prefaced by anything. It just kind of jumps into flashback. So I'm like, oh, so I guess he's a main character now.
He has an eye patch and then he doesn't. And it's just like, oh, this is where the flashback begins.
Well, they've got the black
Yeah, they've got
screen
the
border of manga flashback, but it's just like it's not like he's thinking about his past or anything. It's just like, and now here's this character's backstory, and I'm like, okay.
And God, as if it couldn't be more over. The way this starts is it opens up with like the abbot at this monastery being just like, Bedini, you've done so much work. Your stack of research papers and calculations is like twice as big as everybody else's. Do you know what the recommendations to join this monastery is? You need to be recommended by 3 universities. Yes, exactly. We are a very academic institution. We are men of science and numbers so we can understand God's work. And that is why your incredible output deserves punishment. We're going to the whipping room.
Cool.
You're putting up less of a fight than I expected.
Whatever gets me back to working quicker.
give me the whip, I'll do it myself.
Excuse me, that's talking back to me. That's an extra lash. And he just starts whipping the hell out of his arm, and the torturer is just like, what is going on? And he's just like, I just did 30 lashes. Can I have some time to speak now?
Yeah, so see, here's why you bid, and I'm smart. I'm trying to discover the truth of the world, something that would make me truly unique and special, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to find a explanation for the world that would make me glorified among all men.
Meanwhile, the priest is just sitting back on the side going like, God damn it, we forgot to go over the 7 deadly sins. That's what I've missed. Pride is the worst one of them all. I did the other 6. I forgot the 7th.
Seriously. Bro has never heard of pride in his whole life. He is
Vegeta. Badini.
Hey, Bettini, can you tell us why stars retrograde? No. So then why do you continue to study astronomy? Fuck you, that's why. Okay, listen, just don't read anything in the Forbidden Library or I'm gonna have to fucking melt your eye or something. Is that severe enough to dissuade you? No.
Forbidden
No.
Library?
Tell me more.
He then goes on a midnight walk, and then, as if someone had left a pie out on a windowsill, he floats into the.
I love that panel. That panel is so ridiculous.
He's walking along, he sees one of the forbidden books in a room, and instead of just reaching in to grab it, he dives head first through the window and smashes his face off the floor.
Dog, you're chasing a ball.
I mean, and like immediately after that, the head priest and 2 guards come in and go like, Badini, no, I haven't seen anything yet. If you just put that book down and promise you'll never read a forbidden book ever again, I'll let all of this go and I won't have to cut out your eyes. Plus, a blind monk would make us look bad.
Anyway, I'm going to read this book now.
Why was this in your room, and why weren't you in your room with it, and why are you with a bunch of guards? What was going on? Is this a sex thing?
Shut up.
Oh, I bet it says so in the book. And he cracks open the book. It's like, oh, I'm going to read this entire book. And he's like, okay, just beat him up. And they go tackle him because he's got like just strong little brother energy right now. It's just like, don't you dare read my diary. I'm reading all of it right now.
He's doing this out of spite.
Yep.
I love the head priest expositioning him as he's just like, oh yes, I'm going to blind both of your eyes now with hot wax, but don't worry, you're young and have strong eyes. Hopefully you'll get to maintain use of at least one of them so I don't have to figure out how to write a blind character, said the mangaka through this person. Because this mangaka loves drawing highly detailed eyes, we get a very gross picture of an eye having hot wax poured in it.
Yup.
Not seeing the beauty of the cosmos in that one.
Well, so thematically, his eyes had been awoken to the truth of the universe with that forbidden book and was being closed to that beauty with the hot wax, I guess. But that's a bit of a stretch.
No, it's the hideous burning his eyes from his head that it is so pure.
This is just cosmic horror, isn't it?
Kind of.
Listen. I would love this manga if a Cthulhu monster showed up at some point.
too.
I want to find out that Novak was the hero at the end, trying desperately to kill all these cultists that are trying to worship the star god in the
That
center
would
of the
be
universe.
amazing.
No, don't let them know you're worshiping the sun. The earth is the whole.
Listen, the sun is already an eldritch monster. It screams at us constantly. It hurts you to look at it too long. If you don't have protection from it, it kills you. It's so vast and ancient that you can't comprehend it. And even with the protection, one day it'll just wake up and kill us all. The sun is an eldritch god.
That's why we need an army of tigers to kill it.
We have Oki finding Bedini and being just like, hey, so I've got this thing. Wait. Before you show me this thing, is it going to significantly change my life?
Probably.
I don't know. I'm illiterate.
If it doesn't significantly change my life, I'm never going to deal with it, and it seems like you're poor and worthless, so I won't bother with you. Takes 2 steps, turns around. But on the other hand, I was told that truly benevolent people will take time for their lessers. Tell me about whatever this weird nonsense you have is. Ooh, a book on Mars.
Do you remember a person that you spoke to that was somebody else's backstory? No.
I have to talk to a bunch of poor people. I can't possibly remember everyone.
Oh, well, it was very formative for him. Okay. Anyway,
I couldn't care less.
but yeah, ultimately, yeah, Bedini is like, okay, my eyes aren't very good because, well, we just went over my
Wax.
backstory. So, you use this astrolabe to continue.
My lord, I wasn't there for your backstory. Also, I'm illiterate. That's not important. Oh,
You might be illiterate, but you have eyes. You can look at stuff. Find the red dot in the sky. I don't want to look at the sky. Too fucking bad. I do really like the panel of him looking up the sky, and the stars are nothing but eyeballs. It's a great visual representation of his deep-seated trauma, and also Bloodborne.jpg. And the next panel being him looking extremely haggard the next morning, as if he just had the most harrowing moment of his entire life. As Bedini goes, pretty good observations for a stupid ass peasant. Yeah, I'll go see your box. Oh, wow. This box has some pretty good shit in it. Is it going to change your life? No. It's going to change all the universe.
Now, excuse me while I go vomit. Okay, is this a cosmic horror? Wait a minute. Is there actually an evil sun god in this manga?
Actually, you're not wrong,
It
because
started as a joke, but now I'm starting to wonder.
Bedini sees the truth and has to vomit up his preconceptions.
also very Call of Cthulhu protagonist where he goes, yep, nope, this is the real shit. So you, my valet, I'm gonna tell you one thing. If I can't use this to solve our problem, I want you to burn all of this and never let anyone know about this ever again.
Sir, are you sure that's okay for the preservation of academic knowledge among humanity? I don't care about that. All I care about is my name being on the discovery. If I can't figure this out, nobody can figure this out. You need to shut that down right now.
Isn't that bad for history? History? I only care about theology and pictures of Spider-Man.
History? I only care about my story.
I mean, yes.
I like both of those jokes.
Oh. But yeah, there was also a little fun bit where he goes like, yeah, and I guess if we make any money from this, I'll split the profits 9-1 with you. And he's just like, my lord, it would have to be 8-1. That doesn't add up to 10, you idiotic peasant. No, there was a letter that said that some guy named Potochi gets 1/10 of the payment. Oh yeah, really? Give me that letter. I'm just gonna burn it, and there we go. Now no one owes anything. This is all my research.
I mean, I still saw the contract. It feels kind of rude to not.
Another case of the truth and ideals mattering.
Mhm.
What we leave behind, it lingers in different ways.
Another reason why Bedini and Rafal seem so similar. Bedini is literally Rafal, but worse.
Yeah, he is. Maybe the Eldritch God brought Rafal back.
Well, I mean, kind of
Brought
the
him back
difference.
wrong.
The difference is Rafal viewed everyone else around him as idiots,
Mhm.
and he felt like he was being dragged down by the people around him. Bedini kind of has like he is above everybody else and is doing things to further inflate that position.
Mhm.
It is a desirable outcome to be where he is for Bedini, whereas Rafal kind of didn't like the fact that everyone was so dumb.
Mhm.
He also liked being the golden child, though, so I'm not sure 100% sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Bedini feels like an evolution of Rafal.
Yeah, Rafal found his isolation lamentable. Bedini's just like, yeah, no, this is how it should be. I do really like the next bit where Bedini demonstrates orbital paths and retrograde with a stick and some walking. It's actually a really good experiment.
Oh yeah, no, this is one of those like fun science things where you can literally do it yourself. You just need two people and a stick.
This manga
Mhm.
turned into Dr. Stone for a little bit.
It really did. It's like, hey, you ever wanted to the curvature of the Earth or the rotation of the planets? Here's how you do it. And the way they do that is he sticks a stick in the ground, he starts walking around it, and then he's just like, all right, go ahead and run past me. Run past you? Yes, run past me. All right. And he runs past him. All right, what did that do? That proved the retrograde. How? Well, you see, we were both rotating around the same point, but I was going slower than you were. So it seemed like I was going on the same path that, and then you passed me. So now I'm behind you, and it looks like I'm going backwards because you're still faster. And that's how retrograde works. And that's the illusion of being on the Earth in the orbit of the sun.
But Sam, I don't feel like we've reached the page count again. Could you explain that exact concept a third time?
Uh, sure, that, but a third time.
The manga does make it clear you understand this.
Uh-huh. And it has to throw in a admittedly very beautiful splash panel of Oki looking up at the stars, and he doesn't see the gentle eyes of heaven. He just the brilliant light of the Milky Way shining on him.
We get one of those eye panels that's super detailed.
Yeah, it's emotionally very gratifying.
But anyway, they're going to need some help because Okji's an illiterate and Bedini work is beneath him. So they need an assistant who is not an idiot. So they immediately go to town and start just advertising the fact they're doing heretical research, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure what the plan actually is here.
this is proof that Bedini has high input, low whiz, because
Wow, negative whiz.
a man who was actually smart would not do this shit.
I'm just going to put heretical equations on answer this question boards and see who does.
Like literally center of town notice boards. They're just hammering multiple flyers in. They also made way too many flyers. I almost said in a world before the printing press, but I'm pretty sure they had the printing press at this point. Almost certainly, actually.
We also have a poignant example of how Oki is virtuous and Bedini is not, because a a fear and hunger character emerges from the darkness begging for coin. Oki gives him a coin, and more fear and hunger characters emerge, at which point he panics and runs. And Bedini goes, wow, imagine actually giving alms to the poor. Could not be me. Didn't you know that actually giving money to the poor makes them more likely to indulge in sin? Charity to the lower classes is inherently worse.
Man, Baldini's read a lot of books in his life, but seemingly not the one that matters. Uh,
He also seems to be 600 years ahead of his time in terms of capitalist ideology.
oh, Sam. It's been like this forever.
Yes, it is. Oh, but yeah, they go ahead and they hammer their heretizations onto the quest board, and by the time they return to that square later on in the day, it's just like, all right, so now we just wait for somebody to go ahead and take our quest. Hey, somebody's taking our quest. What do you mean someone's taking our quest? We literally just put it up. Yeah, Little Red Riding Hood is going ahead and taking the nail out. So, that's our next main character, and where we end our reading.
A girl?
What?
Dun, dun, dun. I think that
Oh, no.
actually, I think that
That's
might
the
be the
end.
first female character in all of this manga.
It
Oh,
is.
but yep.
It is.
Well, it was the 1500s. They had less women back then.
Ah,
Women only started to exist around.
the dark secret has been stolen from us, I guess.
It's okay, Jay. You're not expected to be good at math.
Oh no, Matt's been infected by the time period. Wait.
Oh no!
Yeah. Oh, really? No, this is just Matt. This is just Matt.
Anyway.
And with that, we come to the end of our rating. So, favorite character from this? I think for me, Gallus has to be my favorite character. His completely irrational kind of speaks to me. Just taking an absolutely shitty life situation and being just like, no, there has to be some inherent hope to the world. We would not be put into this life without some reason to continue to live it, and I will grasp for that. It's an irrational level of optimism, but it speaks to my own personal optimism, and I appreciate it for all that. So yeah, I really like Gallus. Jay, how about you? Favorite character?
So I don't remember his name off the top of my mind, but Inquisitor dude.
Novak.
Novak.
Yeah. Just I can't. Probably just I love to hate him. I just can't.
He's a mood.
Yeah, he's a mood.
He's a very good love to hate character.
Yep.
It really says a lot when your character design has permanently blood-stained sleeves.
I know! That was like insane because so many people like act, I don't want to say shocked because they kind of nonchalant, oh, you are the mercenary inquisitor. Yeah, what was it, the blood on my sleeves that gave that away?
Matt, how about you?
I mean, if I could pick heliocentrism as the mimetic mind virus that's slowly infecting these people to like grow disdain for their one true Lord and Savior. But no, I'm gonna stick with Okji. I love this guy. He's got a lot of guilt, and he's trying to find beauty in the world now because like things are connecting with him that clearly, even though he's been told everything is garbage and he is garbage, and like everything that is bad that is happening to him, he deserves. It is finding connections in the world that seem to like discredit that and holding on to those and like looking for light. It's a really, really fun story. I hope things turn out okay for him and he doesn't get hereticked because Badini's a bad guy.
Agreed. And Jacob, how about you?
I gotta go with Novak as well. Not just because Novak is a mood, which I mean, you know, he's got that immediate charisma, which makes him fun to watch do insane things. But like I mentioned the whole like the sort of ridiculous like 80-60 chess thing where like Rafal isn't actually like hasn't actually been removed from the story. I don't think that's where the story is going, because what I think the story is going for is a bunch of people over the course of many years is going to slowly chip away at Novak's walls, and he's going to ultimately be the one who carries the last bit of this over the finish line.
By killing the Pope.
Honestly, I'd see it.
I like that potential character trajectory because he's a character who, at least at a superficial level, is very simple. He very much wears his heart on his sleeve. But the scene that Matt mentioned with Rafal, where he shows very immediate, very genuine concern for the soul of a child. It's like he's fine killing him, but his soul, eternity being lost to this child, is something that's a bridge too far for him. There's more to him than I think even he realizes. And I feel like what the story is leading towards is pushing him towards his own multitudes.
Yeah, he definitely feels like, again, he feels like a Vinland Saga character. Like, this is a guy who is very rich under his very gruff, brutal, obvious antagonist surface.
Blind,
And-
violence-based exterior.
And the fact that he is the most consistent character to not die in this narrative. Yeah, that's got to account for something. But yeah, plot predictions and I guess a general thought on the philosophical discourse that occurred.
Well, as a geocentrist, I really found this reading offensive.
Yeah.
What's your opinions on the ice wall, Matt?
That's your deal, Sam. You're the one who thinks the world's flat.
No, you might remember last time I said that I believe in the expanding Earth theory.
Oh, right. The core is full of dinosaurs because they committed a grave sin and were sent to super hell.
Hey,
So I
Jake,
kind of like that universe.
hey Jake, how did you like calculating the density of the atmosphere required to support prehistoric life on a planet 1/4 of the current volume? Oh, but yeah, no. I'm gonna go out and say that Oki is not going to be the last link in this chain. In fact, I don't even think he's going to be the penultimate. I think that this is going to turn into an extended anthology where Novak is the connecting element. It's going to be him on his lazy mercenary inquisition throughout the course of his lifetime. And he's never going to be able to quench this particular spark of heresy, this research path into the true nature of the universe. And we're going to see a varied cast of characters be thrown into the fire of needing to stand up for their ideals, the ideal being truth. So basically, more of the same is my plot prediction. I am curious to see more of the theological discussion, though.
Yeah.
Conversations between Gallus and Oki. Their optimism versus pessimism, the world is inherently sinful versus the world is inherently hopeful.
Is there any absolute proof there?
Mm-hmm. Is heaven a thing that can be obtained, or is it an ideal to be strived for? Stuff like that. That was it was wordy, but man, I loved it. Yeah, that's my take. How about the rest of y'all?
As stated previously, I had a pretty similar take. Specifically that Novak was going to be the one to actually be the one to carry it over the finish line, but I don't really have anything to plot predictions add otherwise. The one thing I will say is this very well could be a feature, not a bug, but I will say the fact that so many of these characters are so thoroughly unpersuasive, like the fact that the heretic that set Gladius and Aki on their journey was basically a caricature spouting the anti-life equation at them, like that kind of annoyed me. But like, these aren't people with complete information, so it's one of those ones where it's like that in a weird way it kind of got me more invested. So
It also kind of fits with the people who are going to be the biggest heliocentrist are the people who have absolutely no problem telling people they are wrong and like, you're
yeah.
wrong, I'm right, because I'm smarter than you. Because you're currently telling the church that they don't know what they're talking about. Like, the arrogance to even make that claim is going to attract a certain kind of person.
Yes, Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. Thank you, you're wrong.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on the plot or the philosophy of our reading?
I think like historical precedents, our current main characters are not going to be the last ones to die.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah. With that in mind, would you continue reading? I don't think I would consider this to be like a casual read, but if I'm ever like hungering for this, had a very strong period piece energy to it, and if I'm ever like thirsting for that vibe, I know where I can go to get more. So yeah, this is a yes for would continue reading. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I'd say I'm kind of on the same kind of like tepid yes. I feel like this isn't normally something I would be interested in, but I feel like its setting and its ideas are unique enough that's really portraying it in a certain way. And this is just a fun period of history that doesn't normally get covered. So there's a lot of like interesting things to play with that are mostly just the setting, but like I don't know a lot of other things that take place in this setting. So it's fun for what it is.
All right, Jay, how about you?
I found it very entertaining. I have to say there are a lot of parts where it got really into the weeds and it was hard for me to really lock in at times, but I don't know. I think I would enjoy this passively.
All right, and Jacob.
Actually gonna give the rare no, though not because it's got any problems with it. To me, to a large extent, like from a thematic perspective, it kind of feels like it's saying Catholic guilt, bad, truth, good, and yes, I agree. Um, the setting is really interesting, and the characters are fun. I do get I also get the vibe we're not going to be sticking with them for very long, which to me, since characters are usually the biggest thing for me, rotating casts are not they're not my favorite thing. Were we to read this again for the podcast, I'd be happy because there's definitely a lot to like here. But considering the other options I have for spending the time I have reading manga, I'd pick other things before this. I'd pick a lot of other things before this.
Fair choice. All right, and thank you everybody once again for tuning into the Over Manga Cast. As always, you can find us on all your social medias. We are at overmangacast.com.
You can also find us on YouTube, where you can like, comment, and subscribe. The episodes go up there on a 2-week delay, so if you want to catch our up-to-date stuff, you can head over to overmangacast.com. There's even a section to give us recommendations, tell us what you think of the philosophy and the stuff we're reading. Let us know how you feel.
Yes, please send us as many geocentrist YouTube videos as you want. We'll watch all of them. Speaking of
I did not commit to this.
maintaining the same tone but not intending sarcasm, we appreciate reviews in any and all forms. So go ahead, rate us 5 stars. We love to hear from you. You can also reach out to us over mangacast@gmail.com or the comment section of overmangacast.com or at overmangacast on Twitter. All of those are great methods to contact us. We appreciate recommendations if you got them. probably the coming months are not a great time for him because we've got September is going on right now. Then we're going into Spooktober, and then we're going into No Read November. But we'll get to at some point. And speaking of things on the horizon, Sam here is going on a little bit of the itty bitty vacation. But hey, Sam, what are we going to be reading while you're gone?
I swear to God, if you're doing something while I'm at the Ren Fair, you guys are not reading FMA while I'm at the Ren Fair! No! You bastards! Ah!
We're going to be reading Full Metal Alchemist chapters 1 through 13. So
Ah!
if you want to read along with us, go ahead and find that, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Equivalent exchange will get you for this.